Welcome to the channel for the first time viewers. Welcome back for my existing subscribers. And today I wanted to make this video about how on PC, this is kind of like my second video about my experience with PC, how it's been easier to get games for cheap. So essentially in the beginning, I wanted to make a video about G2A and cdkeys.com and how great they were because I didn't know about them too much. And before I made the video, I was like, let me do a little bit of research before I actually go ahead and, tell everybody. And it's not like they're secret websites or anything like that, because there's a lot of people that are sponsored by them. G2A especially sponsors gaming events. And I can't remember, there's a YouTuber, I can't remember. I think it's, I want to say it's like the Gymquisition. Maybe it's Gymquisition. One of those guys. It's like a medium-sized YouTube channel that I sometimes watch. And they're sponsored by CD Keys, so they're always plugging in their affiliate code. But nonetheless, did a little bit of research, and all you see is like how pretty much these sites are the devil and how much people hate them and how bad they are for the gaming industry. So before I get started, I want to see in the comments kind of what you guys think and if you have any experiences with these sites. But with that said, that's kind of the premise of the video. I'm going to talk about my experience, and kind of at the end, I'm going to give you how I feel about the whole thing. To give you an idea, the game in the background is Splinter Cell Blacklist. The basic version of this on Steam is $29.99. The deluxe version is $39.99. So I was like, I can't justify spending 30 bucks or 40 bucks for a 5-year-old game. It doesn't make sense. Like, if it was Xbox 360 or PS3, I can literally go to the store and get it used for like $7 at GameStop. Which is another point that I want to bring up too, is that some of the negative feedback that I've read on this, on the forums, like I've been to Reddit and I just did a couple searches for just kind of to see what people are saying about it. Some of the things I've seen is that it's bad for the developer, right? And in some aspects it is true. But so is GameStop. Like when you sell your game to GameStop and they give you 16 cents for your game that you just bought yesterday. But no, when you sell your game to GameStop, they give you X amount back, right? It's a physical copy of the game. The digital market is completely different, so they can't do that. And a lot of times you could go to GameStop.com and then you can literally see that there'll be a game on sale for 40 bucks. The used version will be 20 something dollars, and the digital version is the same 60 bucks. The game could be 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 6 years old. It's like almost always the same price as the launch date, and I don't feel like that's right, especially given some of the responses that I've read that developers have said to interviewers. Like, it devalues our game by dropping the price. And I think I call bullshit on that, because if it was a physical copy of a disc, that's tangible and it does not hold the same value, but it's the same experience. You see what I mean? So to say that a digital version of the same exact game holds a value more than the physical version, I think that's just the developers kind of being greedy, or the publishers, whoever puts out these games. I think that's just them being greedy, because it's a physical version in the store, brand new, if you can find one, is 15, 20 bucks, but the digital version is 60 bucks. That's a ripoff. So using sites like Steam keeps the profits with them. Now, where they do have a valid point is the indie developers that do not put out any physical games. Those people do get burned, because a lot of these keys, think of it as Craigslist, right? You can buy a phone from Craigslist and you don't really know what you're getting into. There's specific sites that are set up to check like serial numbers to make sure they're not stolen, but essentially most of the public doesn't really know what they're getting into. Or let's keep it within games. You could buy a game on Craigslist and not know if that game was stolen or not, but still that seller makes the money. Now, the same thing could be said about somebody who legally owns the game and is trying to sell it, on Craigslist. If I don't want a game anymore and I want to sell it to somebody, that secondhand profit that is not going to the developer at all. If I get 30 bucks for a game, that's $30 that I'm not even going to get taxed on, because a lot of times I'm just going to pay cash, or they're going to pay cash and we're going to call it a deal. So in that aspect, physical games have that advantage, but that is also what I'm talking about. That's not fair, especially given the fact that PC games are more based around digital. Now I want to talk about some specific and valid concerns for the site G2A, is that they act as a facilitator, just like Craigslist or just like eBay, they're not actually responsible or reliable. Well, not reliable, but not responsible or liable for any of the transactions that are happening on their site. It's from seller to buyer, right? And they just facilitate it. They do sell this thing called the G2A shield, which a lot of people think is kind of shady, and some people agree with. Like, they say, well, it's a couple extra bucks, but if somebody sells you a messed up key, which I will talk about those things, they sell you a messed up key, something that's been used, something that was reported stolen, then G2A will then get you a working key. But if you don't pay for that extra service, then apparently the perception is that they're a lot harder to work with and they're less willing to help you out, especially since it was from buyer to seller. So it's not them selling it to you. There's a perception that the site cdkeys.com is a little bit different because they actually own the keys as far as it's showing. So it shows that they own the keys, and as far as the liability, people have the perception that they can go after them more so than on G2A, because you would have to go after the seller, and if it's some random bogus account, then you'll never be able to actually get somebody because it was only set up to sell stolen goods. And the keys issue is that, like, for instance, I was reading an issue with Ubisoft, and a whole bunch of Rainbow Six Siege keys got stolen or purchased with a stolen credit card, or something happened, and everybody that bought those keys from G2A got them revoked. Ultimately, Ubisoft ended up giving those Rainbow Six Siege players their game back, but essentially you lose the game from your library whenever you take that risk. It's something few and far between, and like I said, I feel like it's up to the integrity of that seller. And as a buyer, the way I look at it is just like when I go to Amazon. I'm buying I bought a HDMI splitter on Amazon, just an off-brand one. But before I did that, I checked the person's reviews. They gotta have X amount of sales for me to consider just going with somebody smaller, because I don't know them. So this person had like 200,000 sales and like 190,000 good reviews and a few thousand bad reviews, which I can live with. So that to me is somebody that actually moves a lot of product, and for the number to be so low, I mean, that's less than 1% essentially. So for it to be so low, I feel like that is a safe bet. Same thing goes with these keys. You see, I saw like this game, got it for $7. Person had 350,000 positive remarks and only, I think it was like 900 negative remarks. So for me, that's a good deal. When it comes to this site, I feel like as far as filtering out who stole keys and who's just reselling keys, they need to do a better point of that. But I don't feel like we should shun gamers for looking for the best deal for themselves, because at the end of the day, if the publishers really were going to be taking care of us, then they would take care of all these loot boxes and take it out of the game. Like, I just got a loot box in PUBG that I have to pay real money for. Like, I think that's kind of crazy. So alternatives like this keep more money in consumers' pockets, but they need to be better regulated. I'll catch you guys later. Hope you guys enjoyed the video.